I've cut the natural river out of the foam. That's where the bridge will go. That will feed into the watermill. So what I've done now is I use some all-purpose filler, laid that down. I put the roadway in, just card, and then I've used the filler to kind of raise the contours. So the tree bark now has been put onto the model. This is what I've sourced from the local park and the garden, just normal tree bark. Now the all-purpose filler is gone off. I've sanded down the roadway, and I've now put some modelling clay on top of the bark, and eventually that'll be where the grass goes and the moss in between the rocks. So I've laid down the dirt to form the riverbed. I've placed the odd rock here and there. What I'll do now is I'll use a bit of isopropyl alcohol spray and then spray PVA over it to set it. So with the dirt from the riverbed added, I've now given it a spray of alcohol and then some PVA glue mixed with water 50-50. So I've just got to let this dry now. Just giving the rocks a bit of a dry brush with a light colour just to kind of highlight the detail. Now the dirt is set with the PVA. I'm only using a kind of a very light white acrylic, and then I'll go over it with some browns, add a little bit of knock turf to simulate moss, especially around these rocks. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some PVA to all the banks all the way around the riverbed, and then I'm going to put some very fine army sand onto the banks, and that'll feed into the river bank, and then I'll apply some of the grass. It doesn't matter if it goes onto the riverbed too much because it'll all blend in. You haven't got to be too accurate either. Putting a bit of moss now into the riverbed, just near the rocks, just to break up the brown and the other colours that I put in. I don't want to go too mad with it, but so I've had the air gun on it, and I've coloured in the banks a lighter shade, and then I've airbrushed the rocks. I think the rocks look better that colour. So I've just done a coat of brown now, ready for the flock in. Let's just have a look at the riverbed and see what that looks like from the other side. Yeah, I've highlighted the roots as well. Wow, it's looking a little bit better now. So I've put the flocking on with the help of Steve, who's lent me his grass applicator, and I've got to say the grass looks amazing now. I've never managed to achieve that effect where it stood up by static. Yeah, I'm really chuffed with that. Quite like the rocks, the look of the rocks. So that's just tree bark from from the local park. I've got a little bit of modelling clay to put in here to tie in the road. Chuff with the contours. I like the roots of the riverbed and then the rocks there. They look pretty good. I'm going to put kind of a sewage pipe or an outlet pipe here, so the water, you can see the water going into here. So I've got lots of reeds and vegetation to put in yet. Yeah, I'm pretty chuffed with how it's looking, to be honest. Tied the bridge in now with the roadway with a bit of modelling clay. So I'll just let that set, and then what I need to do is reflock this area here, and then here, and then what I need to do is get the air gun out again and spray the roadway so it's all uniform. So what I've done as well is I've put in some kind of dried mud on the grass verge. What I need to do is spray that the same colour as this, which is a kind of a very light dusty mud. So I've done that both sides and a little bit around here, the tufts in the middle of the roadway. Clear cast CF from CFS, and then there's the catalyst there. So not quite sure how to work this out. I'll have a look on YouTube to see if there's any tips, but hopefully I can mix that up. I'll add an ink to it to give it some sort of colour to the water. Then I'll put that onto the riverbed, probably in layers, and then we'll see what it looks like then. So now I've done the wooden fence, what I'll do is I'll paint that now and do some weathering and then put some vegetation against it. I've also done the service pipe that's going to come out of round about here, and then out of the pipe I'll have some sort of water feeding into the stream. So the service pipe now is in, and I've put a little bit of clear plastic and used some water effects to simulate the current. That needs to dry now, and the fence that I built, I've put that in place, and a bit of vegetation around it. So I'll have a look from the other side. It doesn't look too bad. I'm nearly at the point of the resin, and that's the bit I'm worried about, as I've never done it properly before. So fingers crossed I don't wreck all the work I've done. So I've put some of the resin into the here and then added some of the catalyst. I'm giving it a good stir, make sure it's all mixed up, and then I shall pour it onto the riverbed. Fingers crossed. So here goes nothing. Hopefully it's not leaking anywhere. Oh, so far so good. Hopefully that dries something like that.